Hi, Stan. It's Stara Mama calling. Here's Stadiata reading his paper. Wave. Wave to Stan. And here's our Christmas tree. You can see it better in the daylight. I'm making Potica today, and I'm going to show you how I make it, so stand by. Bye. Hi, Stan. Here's the table that I roll out my Potica on. I have your great grandma's tablecloth on there that I always use because Potica comes out best when I use that tablecloth. And I always have Christmas music in the background when I make Christmas Potica. Stand by for more. Here's my kitchen when I make Potica. It's always a mess. I use almost every bowl and plate and spoon and cup when I make Potica. Here are the lemons I grate into the filling. Can you smell them? I can smell them. It smells wonderful. And here is the Potica filling. Yum! Here are the very special pans I use to bake the Potica, so every loaf is nice and brown all around and baked all the way through. And here is my dough. It looks like it's risen just perfectly to make really good Potica. I've just put the dough on the tablecloth, and now I'm going to roll it out really, really thin. And I use my great grandma's rolling pin. I don't think it has rolled so many Poticas, but it rolled a lot of pies back in the old days. I've started rolling out the dough. It's almost done. And if you look on my tablecloth, you can see that I've made some lines here so I know how big to make my Potica, so it fits in the pan every time. Okay, my dough is all rolled out nice and thin, and if you look really closely you can almost see the holly design through the dough. That's how thin it needs to be. Pretty soon I'm going to put the filling on. That's the fun part. Now I've whipped up the egg whites so they're nice and fluffy, and I'm going to stir them into the filling. Today I'm making two kinds of filling, the regular walnut filling for us, and then a poppy seed filling for your great Aunt Jody. I folded the egg whites into the poppy seed filling and into the walnut filling. I'm going to put it all on the dough right now. I'll show you what it looks like. Stay tuned. Here's the filling plopped onto the dough. Look at all those big lumps. Wouldn't you have a really good time helping me with this? This is the walnut side, and this is the poppy seeds side. Now I'm going to smooth it out with a knife and then get ready to roll it up. Look at that. All the filling is spread on the dough, and I leave a nice empty strip down the middle for when I roll it up. But I have to show you what I found. Look what I found in my walnut Potica. Walnut shells. Oh no! You have to be really careful when you make Potica that you get all the shells out so people don't hurt themselves when they bite into one. Whoops, I almost forgot to tell you about the rum-soaked raisins that I put on the walnut Potica. It makes it especially good for us when we eat it. But I have to be really careful that I don't eat any of the raisins with the rum in it before I roll up my loaves. You never know what might happen. I might roll them crooked. Here I've started to roll up the Potica, and you can see some holes in the roll. Look at those holes. Where did they come from, and why? Well, Grandma has to use a toothpick to poke the dough. See, there's my toothpick. And poke all the air holes out of the Potica. Otherwise you end up with big holes in your Potica. And even though it's Christmas, we don't want holy Potica. And then I brush all the flour off each roll so that the Potica is nice and moist. Look at that! The Potica's all rolled up like a scroll. One side is poppy seed, one side is walnut. Now I'm going to cut them in half right down the middle there and put them in the pans. Almost done with this Potica. Now it's time to put the Potica in the pan, but you have to cut it first. And how do you do that so you get the right size loaves for the pan? Well, you put the pan right up next to the Potica and measure. And to measure and to cut, I use a small bowl, and I'm going to go right where I made a mark, and I'm going to cut with my bowl or my plate, and it makes such a nice sealed end on the Potica. Stan, do you see how the edge of the pan lines up with the marks I made? This is how I know how long to make my loaves. You don't want to make them too long or they get all squished, and you don't want to make them too short or they don't look so nice. Here's one pan all ready. It's going to take a little nap for about an hour, and then I'm going to bake it. Look at that. I had some Potica left over at each end of the roll. What am I going to do with those? I think I will put them in a little pan just for them. You know what this is called? This is called the family ends. And this is what we eat right when it comes out of the oven. Yum. Hanley, look at that. Even Potica has a blanket just like yours. It's taken a little nap here for about an hour, so it rises up and gets nice and light and delicious. See you in an hour. Stanley, look at my kitchen now. Look at all of the dirty dishes I have. I have bowls, and I have Cuisinarts, and I have more bowls, and more bowls, and more bowls. Oh my goodness, I don't have any bowls left in my cupboard. When you come to help me with Potica, this is going to be your job. You can clean up the kitchen for me. Looking forward to it. Hi Stan, this is where Stara Mama is going to take a little nap after making the Potica, and during the hour that the Potica is taking its nap too. I ate up the rest of those rum-soaked raisins, so I have to rest a little bit now. Stan, the first pan of Potica is out of the oven, and it looks pretty good. It looks nice and brown, but not too brown. It has to rest in the pan here for about 20 minutes so it can get itself together, and then I'll flip them out onto a cooling rack, and the Potica will be done and almost ready to eat. So Stanley, this is the end of the Christmas Potica story. It's sitting on the rack, cooling off, and pretty soon Stara and I will cut off a piece and taste it just to make sure it's good enough to serve everyone. I sent a loaf home with your dad at Thanksgiving, so you should ask him about that when you get to Tacoma and see if you can taste what Potica tastes like. Love you. Bye-bye.